Hello there, my very good friends. Andy Murray here from Farm Culture. On today's farming news, the cows and the chickens are beefing over who politicked who backstage. The turkey is unhappy because the eggplant stole its girlfriend, and the pigs have been seen wearing a New Japan Pro Wrestling t-shirt. What could it possibly mean? Nonsense, we're not doing any of that crap, but I am outside. This is a bit weird. Anyway, on today's wrestling news video, we are going to cover the SmackDown finish that went wrong and ended in a legitimate situation on this week's episode. We're going to talk about the Brock Lesnar name drop by Cody Rhodes and what it means. We'll get to that. It's nothing. It doesn't mean anything, but we'll talk about it. We'll ask where on earth are Alexa Bliss and the Wyatt Six, and finally, WWE is happy with something involving Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. I left that one to the end because we've done it a lot lately. Anyway, I'm Andy, this is the news, and we're going to get this one kicked off by talking about the WWE match finish that ended in a shoot this week on SmackDown. Not a shoot as in a brawl, a shoot as in Chelsea Green didn't get back into the ring in enough time before the referee hit the 10 count on the count out against Zelina Vega. And the referee, as they are instructed to do so, called the match as if it was a shoot. So, this is a report from PW Insider here, and there's a bunch of details to go through. I'm going to cover everything you need to know about what happened here. But yes, the belief from multiple sources in WWE is that Green legitimately didn't hear the referee's count. Chelsea Green did not hear the count as it was getting to 10, so that count out was a shoot. It was legit, it was real. It was not the planned finish, but the referee had to end it that way. Basically, when the referee made it to the end of that count, they really just had no choice but to do that. Otherwise, they'd look like complete buffoon idiots, wouldn't they, if they just got to 9 and just stopped and nothing happened. That'd be weird. It'd be weird. It wouldn't work. But yeah, that's what happened. One person stated a belief that when Zelina Vega was tossed inside the ring, Chelsea thought that the count might start again. So she focused on playing to the announcers and the crowd and just being annoying because that's her character. And then she was so involved in that she didn't realise the count was still ongoing. Then it hit 10 and the bell kind of had to be called for because, well, otherwise you make the referee look like the biggest prat in the world and you probably get slagged off by a bunch of people online, and that's not much fun. Now, there's no injury, nothing like that, just a miscommunication, nothing else forced this finish. It's just one of those unfortunate things that sometimes happens in pro wrestling. Apparently the match was slated to go a few minutes longer, and Mike Johnson from PW Insider believes that the finish was actually for Zelina Vega to win here. So, they ended up getting this count out. Zelina wins that way. Maybe not as clean as they'd like, but they get to the same destination in the end. So it's not, it's not some kind of grand disaster by any stretch of the word. So there you go. Now, there's no heat on anybody backstage, apparently, for this. It's just one of those things that happens when wrestling is on live television. So yeah, that's the thing about stuff like this. Yeah, it's not ideal. It's not that, I'm sure the planned finish would have been a little bit more effective for whatever they had in mind. But sometimes this stuff just happens. Sometimes it happens in very high-profile situations. We're lucky this was just a SmackDown match. I mean, if it was the WrestleMania main event or something like that, that'd be a bit more awkward, wouldn't it? Yeah, but in this scenario, it's really not that big a deal. It's just interesting to hear if this finish, like if you were watching it and it felt a little unnatural or it felt a little wonky on TV, it would have felt even more wonky had the referee just gone 9. Chelsea, get in the ring, Chelsea. Waited a whole minute or whatever until everyone got back on the same page. Look, they're all pros, everyone involved in this situation, the referee, Zelina Vega and Chelsea Green. It's just one of those things that happens, and it'll happen again. We're fortunate it doesn't happen very often, but people lapse, people, focus on different things. People forget stuff. It's just life. It's part of life, man. If we're going to chastise people for making earnest, harmless mistakes, what are we doing here? Just, everybody chill. Everybody be nice. Look, it's a beautiful day. The sun's out. There's grass. I'm going to touch that grass for the first time in my life in a minute or two. Anyway, let's talk about Brock Lesnar now. So he got name dropped on SmackDown this week by Cody Rhodes. He was doing a very fired up promo, obviously talking about John Cena and WrestleMania. And he went through like various eras, various designs of the WWE Championship. He got to the spinner belt, obviously, to talk about his WrestleMania opponents. But then he had a little line where he said, "Hey, Jonathan, you need to learn that it's okay for the crowd to like someone else more." and he said, I'm going to tell you the same thing that I would say when Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar were backing me into a corner. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to stand and fight and all of that stuff. So the Brock Lesnar name drop, obviously, registers as a little bit beyond the pale, or abnormal. That's probably a better word for it in this situation. Got a lot of people talking. Why would Cody mention that? Was it scripted? Was it put in there by the writers? Does it mean anything? Will it lead to anything? No, is the answer. A really quick, simple, to the point report here from Fightful Select, saying that despite the name drop, they have not been told that there had been any consideration or conversations regarding bringing Lesnar back. Now, Lesnar's not been in WWE for ages and ages and ages, and it's probably best it stays that way, to be honest. He was implicated in Janelle Grant's lawsuit against WWE, Vince McMahon, and John Laurinaitis. And again, I think it's important to point out that it's not just a lawsuit against Vince, it's against the company as well, and John Laurinaitis. And the stuff in there involving him is extremely damning and subhuman in a lot of ways. So he's a figure who has obviously been a major player for WWE many, many times throughout that company's history. And as such, there's probably somebody there going, hey, we could use this guy. But at the end of the day, I don't think I need to see Brock Lesnar again in the Fed. Do you guys need to see him? I don't think so. Look, I think WWE, honestly, even from a creative standpoint, has probably just moved on. They've moved beyond the need for Brock Lesnar. A lot of people towards the end of his run, I say the end of, maybe like the last 4 years, pretty sick of what he was bringing to the table, and he wasn't quite delivering at the high level situations in the matches like he used to. So even if you don't want to consider the legal stuff, and I think you should, but if you don't, I don't know if there's a strong case to bring the guy back. I really don't. The company's in great place. It's in great shape. They are making money all over the place. It's the best business era in the company's history. Creatively, hitting a lot of highs for a lot of people, all at once. I don't think they need Brock Lesnar. It's in 2025. But that was just a name drop by Cody. It's not leading to anything, according to Fightful. That is probably for the best. You hear that car in the background? I don't know. I'm sorry, guys. We'll be back in the studio tomorrow. Don't worry. But let's now talk about Alexa Bliss and the Wyatt Six. What on earth is going on with them? Alexa Bliss's situation is particularly puzzling because she came back in the Women's Royal Rumble this year to the pop of the year, probably. Absolutely huge. People loved it. She was on TV another couple of times. She has since disappeared. The Wyatt Six have vanished from TV entirely as well. I believe there was an injury to Bo Dallas, aka Uncle Howdy, that may have played into that. But a bit of speculation as well, linking Alexa and the Wyatt Six together. Obviously, Alexa was a very close friend of the late, great Wyndham Rotunda, aka Bray Wyatt. And she is deeply connected to that universe, that storytelling universe. She had a friend on the back with the Fiend stuff, all that on her jacket when she came out, the Rumble. So there's been lots of talk that they might be connected creatively. So you think if the Wyatts are off and Alexa's off, that probably adds up. Fightful have an update here. It's from a Q&A session. Fightful do these like every single day. Somebody asked, what is going on with Alexa Bliss and the Wyatt Six? The last time they were both mentioned on TV was the teaser with Alexa. Do they not have creative for either? And Sean Ross Samp answered as follows. I'm just going to read the whole thing for you guys. The information I was giving is that there were some plans to tie Alexa in creatively with the Wyatt Six. Bo Dallas' injury led to WWE keeping the entire group off television. Alexa Bliss returned at the Rumble, signed a new contract, and was taken off TV and removed from the Mania week schedule. Obviously, she was pulled from, was it WWE World? Something like that? I can't keep up with everything, man. One person intimated to Sean that the Wyatts may need to wait until or after Mania for creative because it was already set. So there we go. A little bit of an update on them. Yeah, I'd imagine we'll probably see them together after WrestleMania. WrestleMania is next week at this stage, so that doesn't even sound like an incredibly insurmountable long thing, does it? For me, the Alexa pop should have been capitalized on a little bit more. It was massive at the Rumble, you can't deny that. Obviously, she'd been gone for like the best part of 2 years or something like that. She'd been gone for ages, so, distance makes the heart grow fonder and all of that stuff. But look, she's extremely popular. She got a monster pop. She's good. She's name value, former champion, all of that stuff. Just, put it in the cup I'll return and gulp it down the Fed. What's going on? I spat all over my computer. Sorry about that. But yeah, I look forward to her return in particular, and the Wyatts as well. Even when they were on TV, they were kind of in and out a little bit creatively. So maybe that's just a pattern for them. I don't know. But yeah, it would make sense for these people to be tied together. Alexa loves that family, that faction, that brand of creative. She's deeply invested in this stuff. She loves it. I'm sure she's going to be very chuffed when they pull off the return and get her back involved. But for our last story on this video, yes, we are still talking about Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair, but we're doing it in a positive light for a change, which is good. Obviously, we've had the past week of insults and shoots and people being pissed off and off script and all of that backstage kerfuffles. This week, it's a positive report involving this week's SmackDown angle. So this is a report from Fightful Select, and we're talking about the SmackDown angle where they got physical. Tiffany got jumped by Charlotte while she was coming out of her car and doing her pose, and it was strange. Every time Tiffany Stratton leaves her car, does she do a little Tiffy time pose? I don't know. I hope she does, personally. Keep it silly, keep it weird. And they had another physical angle later on in the show as well, and WWE are really happy with how that went. Here's the report from Fightful. I'm just going to read it again. Ahead of the 11th of April SmackDown, WWE filmed an attack angle capitalizing off the controversy. We're told that WWE officials were happy with how Tiffany and Charlotte responded and worked together after the uncomfortable elements last week. The two were involved in a physical altercation on SmackDown as well, which ended up being very stiff. However, based on what we heard, everything ended up okay. Producers and backstage personnel say that things went as planned and everything went well. So that's good. That's good. Positive. So coming out of this situation, there was always two schools of thought, I think. Well, three really. What's going to happen next between these two? Have they legitimately pissed each other off? They got very personal. So, first school of thought. You go to WrestleMania and you capitalize off that and you have an incredibly physical, heated, knockdown brawl of a match. And it's incredible. Maybe it lands in the same way that Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley did. Hello, bird in the sky. It did a couple of years ago. That would be sensational. Best case scenario, that seems to be what we're heading to here. Number two, they just have boring match. This, normal ass wrestling match. Nothing really happens. That would be a bummer. And number three, complete chaos. Charlotte Flair goes, "You insulted me, so whatever we have planned for this match doesn't work for me, brother." Or maybe Tiffany does it. I don't know. It could have got nasty. It could have got political. It's pro wrestling. This stuff happens. But we're heading down the right path. Seemingly, following on from these very effective, in my opinion, angles from SmackDown, it looks like we're heading towards the two just working together fine. You don't have to love each other to work together, especially in pro wrestling, and sometimes heated rivalries backstage, feeling slighted, feeling insulted by things that have happened can lead to some tremendous fiction. So let's see what happens when we get to Mania. I know for sure it's one of my most... Actually, no, it's my most anticipated match on the show. At the moment, it's one of those things where, yeah, you can acknowledge that the insults and going off script, yeah, not the best thing to happen, but it's outrageously entertaining. You can't keep your eyes off of this stuff, honestly, and I'd love to meet somebody who hated it, honestly. We would probably just be wrestling through a completely different lens. It's okay, ultimately, at the end of the day. But yeah, WWE very happy with their interactions on SmackDown, which is good to hear, and it means that the match is heading in the right direction. Hopefully we're going to have a real spicy one come WrestleMania. Night one for this match on the Saturday, of course. If you're heading to WrestleMania and you want something to do on the Friday, check us out. We're at the HyperX Arena, 4 p.m. WhatCulture.com/tickets for that one. Also, Thursday morning, you want to start off WrestleMania week right, and you're in Vegas, come see Pandemonium Pro Wrestling. 11 a.m. their show starts. Myself and Michael Hamflet are going to be there. You want to watch some indie wrestling with us? Come through. There's all kinds of interesting names on the card. There's names from Japan, names from Mexico. Hechicero is going to be there facing Kevin Blackwood in the main event. The former Duke Hudson's competing. It's going to be a great time. I'm really looking forward to it. Come along, see us, find Pandemonium Pro Wrestling. You're going to have a great time. Also, WhatCulture Live on the Friday. Anyway, I've been Andy. I'm going to go and touch that grass because people have been telling me to do it for about 5 years, so I figured I should probably start. And I'll see you later. Bye-bye.